So many of us struggle with digestive issues that can just completely throw off our lives. Well, today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to travel back in time to explore how the ancient Indian system of medicine, Ayurveda, approached really common problems like diarrhea and dysentery. Let's dive in.
It's a really good question, isn't it? We're always looking for the next big medical breakthrough, but what if some incredible wisdom has just been waiting there for centuries, written down in texts long before we had microscopes and modern labs? So, for this journey, our main guide is going to be the Charak Samhita. This thing is an incredibly detailed medical guide. And it's not just some historical artifact, it's a manual for a system of health that sees the human body in a totally different way.
And right off the bat, this is a huge shift in perspective. We often think of an illness as some kind of invader, a virus or bacteria that we have to attack and destroy. But Ayurveda sees it as an internal signal. A symptom like diarrhea isn't the enemy. It's your body's way of screaming that something inside is out of whack.
Okay, so if we want to get how Ayurveda deals with digestive trouble, we first have to wrap our heads around its core philosophy. And that all starts with something called the doshas. Everything, and I mean everything, in the Ayurvedic system boils down to these three energies: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, don't let the names throw you. Just think of them as the three managers in charge of everything your body and mind do, from breathing to thinking, and most importantly for us today, digesting your food.
And this chart breaks it down really simply. Vata is all about movement. Pitta is the energy of transformation or metabolism. It's quite literally the fire in your gut that digests food. And Kapha, that's the energy of structure and lubrication. When you're healthy, these three are working together in perfect harmony. And this page from an actual ancient text just illustrates the idea perfectly. See, they're not talking about a germ or a virus. They're talking about the diseases of Vat, Pit, Kapha. So, too much of that fiery Pitta could cause inflammation and burning sensations. Too much Vata could mess with the movement in your bowels. That is the root cause.
Okay, so if a disease is an imbalance, how in the world would an ancient practitioner figure out which dosha was causing the trouble? Well, that brings us to the art of diagnosis, which was a whole lot more than just asking, so, where does it hurt?
This was no 5-minute checkup. The texts describe this incredibly deep 6-part process. The physician would literally use all their senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, even taste, and combine that with a ton of detailed questions to get a complete picture of what was going on. Just look at the insane level of detail here. They wouldn't just write down stomach ache. They'd want to know, is the pain sharp or dull? Does it get worse at a certain time of day? Is there a burning feeling? Every single answer was a clue. That fiery, urgent type of diarrhea, that would point straight to excess pitta. A more gassy, crampy, or regular situation, that would scream aggravated vata.
So once they pinpointed the imbalance, it was time for treatment. And the Ayurvedic pharmacy wasn't in a lab. It was right outside, in the fields and forests. It was literally a pharmacy grown from the earth.
The Charak Samhita is basically a massive treasure trove of botanical medicine. It lays out hundreds of plants, what they do, and exactly how to prepare them for all sorts of conditions, including very, very specific recipes for diarrhea and dysentery. Take this, for example, bale fruit. The texts talk about making it into a marmalade. What I love about this is that medicine wasn't always some bitter pill you had to swallow. It was often part of your food, making it easy to take while its properties worked to soothe the gut. Or how about ispaghul? Many of us know it today as psyllium husk. But what's so cool is the specific instruction to roast the seeds. They believed this simple step made them even more effective at calming the severe irritation you'd get with dysentery, making it gentle enough even for children. And it wasn't just about what you ate or drank either. The texts also describe using special medicated oils, like this Narayan tel, as an enema. This shows a really sophisticated understanding of applying the remedy directly where it's needed most for really intense conditions. And just one more to show you the range. Here, a tree resin is mixed with sugar and used for dysentery. Every single remedy was chosen for its specific qualities to counteract the specific imbalance that the doctor diagnosed. It was highly personalized medicine, thousands of years ago. But here's the thing, taking an herb was just one piece of the puzzle. Real healing in Ayurveda is holistic. It involves every single part of a person's life.
You couldn't just pop an herb for your stomach and then go back to eating food that made the problem worse. That's like trying to bail out a leaky boat without plugging the hole. You had to bring the whole system back into alignment. And your most powerful tool for that was what you ate every single day.
This is so fascinating. What you're looking at here is basically a prescription for food. For pretty much every illness, the texts laid out lists of papya and apathya, which is basically the eat this, not that guide for getting better. So for someone recovering from diarrhea, the advice was just crystal clear. You stick to the pathya foods, things that are light, nourishing, and easy to digest, like rice and lentils. Give your gut a break. And you absolutely avoid the apathya foods, anything heavy, fried, or processed that's just going to put more stress on a system that's already struggling. So as we start to bring this all together, what's the big takeaway? What do we learn from looking at our health through this ancient Ayurvedic lens? Well, it's a whole different mindset. The goal isn't to wage war on a symptom. It's to stop and ask, why is my body doing this? And then gently support its return to its natural, balanced state. At the end of the day, the wisdom in these texts is a powerful reminder that health isn't some static thing you achieve. It's a constant, dynamic dance of balance. And every choice we make, what we eat, how we live, is a step in that dance. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? In our modern age of super specific, targeted drugs, what can we learn from a system that refused to look at just one symptom and instead always, always saw the whole person? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.